Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Um, so as I stated in my first video, I am a practicus in the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. And the very first step is becoming a neophyte. And that is, if you're gonna associate that in the tarot, it would be the Fool. You're essentially the Fool, you don't know what's going on, but you know something's wrong, you know something isn't right, this isn't it shouldn't be this isn't what the world should be, you know? You grew up as a kid thinking it was something, you become an adult and you're like, this is it? This can't be it. And so you get this nagging thing in your head and you're just like, this can't be everything, man. There's gotta be something more. But you have no idea what it is because you're the Fool. You don't understand the tools. You don't understand the concept of the laws and utilizing the magic of the celestial energies. But that's okay because other people do and it's mapped out for you. But the path isn't through the analytical cut and dry mind. It's going to be through the subconscious symbolic mind. And the tarot is a vast amount of information. It's a vast journey of your inner self. I'm legit talking about the Okay, so anyways, I about went on a rant about the tarot. I'm going to stay on topic. The first step is becoming a neophyte. Okay? Every step is about a year. In the video, The Tree of Life, there's 10 Sephiroth, right? You start at Malkuth, you then go to the moon, you then go to Mercury, then you go to Venus, the sun, and you're climbing it. Each grade is you're climbing. And the outer grades is everything before the sun. It's everything before Taparth. It's everything before you reach knowledge and conversation with your holy guardian angel, right? So think about that for a second, right? And that's only half the tree. And then I'm not going to get into it, but just know you've got a ways to go. To give you some perspective, I have been doing this for almost 4 years. And I am up to Hod. I'm up to number 8. I'm up to the third Sephiroth. Now, with that being said, Neophyte is not even a Sephiroth. You get nothing. Neophyte is not represented by a Sephiroth. Neophyte is you are a brain-dead child who doesn't know any words, doesn't know how to read, doesn't know anything, and you are taught. You are taught the ABCs of magic. You are taught the very, very basics so that you can grasp the understanding, so you can form together simple words and concepts, just so you can follow along. The equivalent of being able to read a child's book, I guess, right? You're learning the tools. To put that more specifically, you're learning how to, in this order, you're learning how to sit still. You're learning how to control your breathing. You're learning how to close your eyes. You're learning how to focus on your thoughts and then slowly focus as your thoughts disappear and you get the subconscious communicating, and that's going to be through videos, that's going to be through images, that's going to be through downloads of just knowing information that all just fits together. Like you could just talk about it for 5 minutes to somebody and it all just makes sense, but like 10 minutes ago you weren't thinking about it all. I mean, you didn't know anything about it and it just went into you. You have to understand we are essentially everything that has ever been made technology-wise is just a comparison of what we already potentially could have, right? And most of us don't know that. Most of us are dial-up modems, if even that. If even that. maybe not even that. And so you're trying to watch this HD, this 4K video through a dial-up modem. You're trying to talk to angels. You're trying to talk to these high angelic beings. You're trying to do these magic spells. You're trying to manipulate reality. You're trying to do all this stuff, and you can't even sit in a chair for 5 minutes and not fidget. They came out with a product specifically designed to program you to think that you have to constantly be moving. You have to constantly be thinking about something. And that is for one reason. It's to constantly distract you. Your intent. Here is a new slogan, a new phrase. Where attention goes, energy flows. Realize here and now that electricity is an electric city. And we are living in cities which are basically just big versions of microchips. They are harnessing our attention, our energy, right? So they want it distracted and discombobulated whenever you're not being focused on what you're supposed to focus on. So if you're focusing on like an ad, that's good. If you're focusing on a TV show, that's good. But if you're sitting there with your thoughts and you know what I mean, you're not supposed to be, you're supposed to be scared of all the things that you happened to you in the past. Don't want to think about that. You're supposed to be, thinking about, I hate this person. This person's so mad, blah, 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 blah. That person was a bitch to me today. You know what I mean? So like you got all this gossip going on and you're supposed to be thinking about anxiety. Like you have to be scattered. They don't want you focused, right? And so in order for you to even play the game of magic, you have to learn the art of being focused. And before you can learn the art of being focused, you have to learn the art of sitting still. And the reason you're doing that is, as I tried to explain in the law of gender, you've got your conscious mind and you've got your subconscious mind. You've got your sun and your moon. And with that is the left side of the brain, the male side, and the female side of the brain, right? The creative side. And believe it or not, it's the symbolism is insane. Our founding fathers, it's all symbolic. They founded this country. The males founded this country. From the get-go, we are already programmed to believe we live in a male-dominated world. The Bible is not about male patriarchy. It is about the law of polarity. It's supposed to be about the science between the negative, the masculine and the feminine. They took out the feminine. They took out the creative side. They disconnected you from the creative side of your brain. They took you away from the Garden of Eden. They kicked you out. They caused all the disconnected. Now you have all these questions. Now you are in pain. Now you're like, why God? Why is this happening to me? You don't know. You don't know anything. You're in a constant state of fear, anxiety, depression. And I hate to tell you, it's because you were born into the United States, which is this crazy, crazy place where it's basically a game that they're harnessing our energy and using it for their benefit while manifesting a horrible world for us to live in. And you need to break out of that thought pattern programming. You are a divine spark of divinity. You are the one that they are using. They're using us, but it's just they're taking our attention and they're focusing it on this fucking bullshit, and we're creating this world, and then this world is being created, and then they're telling us on the news about this world. And we're like, oh, okay, so that's what's happening. I'm so glad the news is here to tell me what's going on. And what's really happening, they're just reinforcing what you're supposed to already be thinking about, because the more you think about it, the more you bring it. The more you think it, the more you bring it. Where attention goes, energy flows, right? And the trick is to develop your own center, to develop your own focus, and then develop your own power. And then you disconnect from all the bullshit. You don't need any of it. This is going to sound crazy, but you don't need anything. You don't need medicine. You don't, yeah, okay, here's the problem. You do now. Some of you guys that are on medicine, yeah, it's like, it's chemically dependent, legit. You know what I mean? Like they fucked you guys pretty bad. They fucked people pretty bad. Uh, Pharmacy is pharmakia. Pharmakia is what the Bible mentions. That's what sorcery is. They try to tell you that you stay away from magic. The whole world is run by magic. They don't want you to be a part of it. They want you to be happy, passive slaves. And so they tell you that anything, you're so fucking programmed. I showed a guy a 5-pointed star. It wasn't even upside down. It was literally just a star. And guess what his first thought was? That is satanic. That's satanic, right? There's a reason you're supposed to think that's satanic. They are polarizing you to be repulsed by anything that isn't in your religious box or this paradigm of what is considered holy and proper. You need to realize a good way to break out is to go back and look at every single thing they told you not to look at. Go back and look at every single thing you were told was bad. There's a reason it was said that. There's a reason, okay? But man, I went off on this crazy ass tangent. But the point is that when you become a neophyte, you're basically accepting that there is a different world and you want to become a part of it. You're not ready to be a part of it because you are a fool. You're a fool. If you look at the tarot card, the Fool, it's a man with a rucksack who looks like he's on a journey, and he's staring up at the sky, and the sun is facing away from him, and he's getting ready to walk off a cliff, and there's a dog behind him that's trying to get his attention, right? The person has his back against the sun. He doesn't see the divine energy. His subconscious mind is the animal inside of him, the dog. It's trying to warn him of the danger. He has no connection with his intuitive side of his subconscious information. He can't detect the danger of walking off a cliff. He is blindly walking. That is the first step. Okay, so anyways, we're 12 minutes in. So that's the theory, right? I'm gonna do, now we're gonna do, this is what you gotta do. It's gonna take you, okay. The people that really want to do this, there's armchair magicians, and then there's people that finally break free. And I was an armchair magician for so long. It was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Oh, let me read about that. Oh my God, that's amazing. Holy crap. But like, I didn't actually do anything. And you can't activate your electromagnetic body. You can't work on your astral body. You can't work on your aura, which then works on your light body. You can't do any of that until you start focusing and meditating, blah, 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 blah. So with that being said, the very first thing that we do in the neophyte grade, this is what you're going to do, right? You're going to identify where east is. You're going to find a compass, and you're going to find where east is. And then you're going to designate your 4 sacred directions. East is the land of air. It is a cliff. When you look out the cliff, it is a cloud patch sky, and you can see the sun is just starting to rise. It's sunrise. It's spring, and you can feel the wind blowing at you. That is the east. You need to visualize that as strong as you can. You are creating 4 sacred astral worlds that eventually you will possibly live in, journey to, find secrets to, talk to. Like right now we're just envisioning this, but it's all, you're building it brick by brick, mental brick by brick. So that's the first step, right? We're playing a game. Can you pretend? Can you pretend that you're on a damn cliff envisioning what I just said, right? And you got to feel the wind, because when I say visualize, people think, okay, let me see. Okay, and visualize a grandfather clock. And they're like, okay, cool. I'm trying to see a clock. Okay, cool. You're seeing the clock, but hey, can you hear it? Can you hear it going tick tock, tick tock? Oh, and then can you feel it? Can you feel the dust Can you feel the dust that's covering up it? It's very old, right? Oh my goodness, it went up your nose. Ugh, it smells terrible, right? Ugh, and it's really, you know what I mean? Like, visualize it. You have to understand, when you visualize something, you're creating a doppelganger in the astral that is having an experience of your physical body in the astral. And the more that you put your physical senses into the astral, the more it will become real and focused and descend into the physical, into you. You are creating a version of you that you will become. Okay. So the final thing I'm going to say is every single grade has a vast transformation that happens when you go through it. And for me, I always had to watch TV when I was going to go to sleep. I couldn't sleep if the TV wasn't on. I'm sure there's reasons behind that, but for whatever reason, my thoughts were scattered. They were too you know what I mean? I couldn't, whatever. I need, for some reason, if I had a TV on with like King of the Hill or something, it would just shut off my brain and I could go into a trance and just pass out, right? Well, now, once I was done with the neophyte grade, once I was officially done with the neophyte grade, I didn't need any TV on. I don't need a fan on. I don't need a radio. Some people have to have like a fan or an air conditioner on. I literally sleep in silence. Now, with that being said, I can acclimate. My girlfriend needs a fan on and an air conditioner. Now, I don't particularly desire that, but I don't care. Like, I can sleep. It's as if nothing. The focus is what matters. Your control is so much more powerful than the outside stimuli that you are observing with your senses. The inside is much more powerful once you learn to harness it. So I'm not going to get all into the silence, but we're going to start this. This is what it is. This is called the neophyte ritual. It takes about 30 minutes, right? And it starts with you identifying the east, right? I went off on a damn tangent again, right? Okay, so you go to the east, and then once you have the east, then you go to, you turn around in clockwise. You're always going to go clockwise because you're symbolizing the manifestation of how energy comes and then goes to lower forms until it arrives at the material. And then you're going to go counterclockwise to banish things. But for the most part, we always go clockwise. And in this case, we're going clockwise to the south. And when you look at the south, you are seeing a desert. You're seeing a giant desert, and it's noon. The sun is high up in the sky, and it's summer. It's very hot and dry. And that's the south, right? That's the south. That's your astral realm of the south fire and the desert. And then you go counterclockwise and you go to the west, and you see a beach, and it's sunset. You can see the sun starting to set below the horizon, and the sky is becoming like purplish orange, and it is fall. And you're actually standing like halfway on the beach, halfway in like the water part, and you can feel, you can feel the moisture in the air. You can hear the beach slap, the tide coming in and out, going against your thighs and legs and what have you. And that's the west. That's the water. You know what I mean? And then finally you go and you turn clockwise one more time, and now you're in the north, and you are in a wheat field, right? And it's midnight, and it's winter, and it's really, really, really cold and dry. And like I said, this is winter. This is the north. And so then you turn back to the east, and you've essentially subconsciously established your 4 sacred realms. You've casted a circle in a sense, kind of. You cast many circles, but you've casted one form of a circle. Because you are creating a circle of yourself, you're in the center, you are representing that you are the divine that is expressing yourself uh, in this space, and then through the power of as within, so without, it will then be expressed outward, and your reality will be manifested as such. So in this case, we're establishing that we have the four sacred realms, and now we're going to sit in the center of it because we are a part of all four. We have the earth, we have the physical earth, we have the thoughts of the air, we have the passion and the willpower of the fire, and of course we have the emotions of the water, right? So you sit in the center, and this is when it's going to get interesting, because for 5 whole minutes you're going to have to sit here, and you're going to have to close your eyes, and you're going to have to breathe in through your nose at the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to hold it for the count of 4. And then you're going to breathe out through your nose at the count of 4. And then you're going to hold that for the count of 4. And what we're doing is we're learning the very first steps of magic. And that is that breath is one of the most important things of magic, because breath equals energy. When you breathe in oxygen, you're breathing in energy. When you breathe out oxygen, the energy is staying in. You're just breathing in the energy. So once you become aware of that, you start breathing in more energy, because you're just kind of, it's naturally just kind of happening, and then you become aware of it, and then more of it accumulates, and then you start drawing more of it in there, and it becomes like a big pattern. So the first step is you close your eyes, you do the count of 4, and you do that for 5 minutes, right? It doesn't matter how fast your count is. You could go 1, 2, 3, 4, or you could go 1, 2, 3, 4. This is important. What's important is the consistency. They all have to be the same. The in breath, the hold, the out breath, and the hold all have to be the same. So it's you're doing a pattern. It's a rhythmic pattern. You're getting into a trance. You're doing what they want you to normally do when you're sitting on the couch drooling on yourself with Doritos, staring at a commercial. But you're doing this intentionally because you are magically putting things into your subconscious that you want to do to manifest yourself or the outside world. Right? And so to do that is you do breath work, you do that with a continuous pattern over and over and over and over and over again. You get into a hypnotic trance, your brain changes from beta or whatever into the theta, and you get into like a hypnagogic state if you get really, really deep into it. We're not looking for all that crap. I just need you to become enough so that you don't need a fidget spinner when you're sitting in a bus. When you're sitting in a chair, you can just sit there. You know what I mean? Just sit there. So anyways, you do that for 5 minutes. Now, for the first month or so, that's all you're going to focus on. But after about a month, you're going to get really, really used to this because it's going to become a habit. Now, one of the ways to enter into your subconscious mind is to do magic. One of them is to get programmed by the elite, which they do. And then a third way is to just do something over and 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 over again. And that's how you get addictions, because you're not addicted to the thing, even though you might be. You're addicted to the action of doing the thing because you're so used to doing it. You're so used to doing it. You're so used to doing it. It has become a part of your life. So with that being said, if you do this for a month, it'll become a part of your life. And it takes about 3 months, but let's just say a month is a good starting point, right? It's definitely going to start building foundation into your everyday activities. You're going to be like, oh crap, I need to remember to do this because I've done it so long. But anyways, once you become proficient at the breathing part, now you're going to add a little bit of visualization to the breathing. And what you're going to do is when you start the meditation and you're sitting in your chair, because you're going to notice that you're going to become, for someone who is really like tensed up and always like nervous or whatever, as you're doing these energies and you're forcing yourself to relax during these energies, what's going to end up happening is you're going to become into a state of relaxed state as normal. And you're just going to always be a calm, relaxed state. And so it's going to become much easier to get into that trance state when you do. And your body's going to know that you're ready to get into that trance state because you're going to do that activity you've done 30 times before. So anyways, you're in this state, and as you start to breathe, you envision all the pores in your body, all the holes that make up your skin, expanding. And as you're breathing in, this energy is just flowing inside of you. And as you're breathing out, it's flowing outside of you. It's passing through you, essentially, inside and outside, inside and outside, inside and outside. And when you get really good at that, envision it going inside your bones. What you're essentially trying to do is cause a realization in your subconscious mind that there is no difference between your physical body and the energy that you are absorbing. It's like the water trying to take a drink of itself. The beach is trying to take a drink of itself. It already is itself, but we don't realize that yet. And so essentially the first step is trying to make the realization that when you're breathing in the energy, it's going through your body. When you're breathing it out, you're basically just feeling the energy go in and out, and you're trying to learn how to visualize a little bit. And what's important is, if you think about it, when you're looking at a TV, you're focusing on TV. When you first start this, you're just like, oh, this is boring, whatever. But eventually, you'll start to like notice things, or you start to feel the energy, start to feel the force, the power. It gets more exciting, and as you're doing that, it becomes more easily to pay attention to it, and it becomes almost its own like TV show, its own movie, its own source of entertainment. And so it's not about being bored. It's about doing the work and like pumping the weights and getting stronger, or practicing the guitar and getting better. It's you realize that there actually is something here, and now it's just about doing it. But first we have to realize that it exists, and then realize that we can harness it, and then we start training it. So the neophyte grade is all about realizing it exists, and then coming to terms and learning how to hold the instrument, and just learning that this instrument has existed and there's a way to make music out of it. And you've got a long way to go, but at least you're now aware of its existence, right? So you do that, and then the next thing we're going to do is you're going to stand up, and I got to talk faster. I got to somehow condense this into 10 minutes. I think I can do it. Okay, so you stand up, and you're going to close your eyes, right? So right now, at the very least, you should be feeling relaxed. You should be feeling relaxed. And you might even be feeling other things. But you're going to stand there, close your eyes, and you're going to imagine yourself getting bigger. You're going to imagine yourself growing. First, you're going to grow as big as your house. Bigger than that, bigger, 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 bigger. Try to feel yourself getting bigger, see yourself getting bigger. I don't know, even feel the wind whipping past you as you get bigger. Hear people screaming as they see a giant person getting bigger, whatever. Just envision yourself getting bigger. So you're as big as the whole earth, right? Then you get as big as the whole solar system. Then you get as big as the whole universe. Then you get so big that you can't get any bigger. It's like the universe is starting to get like wrapped around you. And then it literally wraps around you, and you and the universe have become the same. You're essentially just like almost like a body bag, but the universe is the body bag. And right above you is this giant bright white light. This is the source of everything. We don't have the senses to detect it, but it's here. It's our divine connection, right? And what you want to do is you want to take your two fingers, and you want to feel this energy that's bobbing above but out of reach of your physical body, and you want to take some of this energy and place it inside of your forehead, your third eye. And as you're doing that, you want to vibrate. In in the last video, Middle Pillar, I talked about vibrating. You know what I mean? You're all about producing the vibrations. And so you go, right? And then you draw that down to your heart, and you say, Malkuth. Then you take your right shoulder, you touch it, and you go Vagavura. Your left shoulder, and you go Vagadula. and then you put your right hand, your left hand in your heart, and you go Leolam Amin, and that's called the Kabbalistic cross. And what you're essentially doing is sealing your aura, so nothing can get in. People every day, your guys' aura is like, it's almost like a house with no doors and no windows. Like there's, it's just everything leaks out, and then all the outside energy comes in. So we're trying to build our own house with windows and doors, and so everything gets everything. For one, nothing can come in, but for two, we can actually keep things inside that we want, and we can build it. That's how you build energy. You have to have an enclosed electromagnetic space to work with your energy, otherwise it'll just leak out. So yeah. So you do the Kabbalistic cross, and then, okay, so this is going to get a little intense. I'm going to go behind the science of the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. I'm going to go behind it, right? But for right now, you just hold out, you go to the left, and you hold out your fingers straight with two fingers, and you go to your left thigh, right? And you draw a straight line up to your forehead, and then you draw a straight line to your right thigh. Then you draw a straight line up to your left shoulder, right? Then a straight line to your right shoulder, and then you go back down to your left thigh. And what you've done is you've created a 5-pointed star. And no, it is not satanic, okay? It's not satanic. There's nothing satanic about it. It's about the 4 elements and spirit. It's about the connection of all that which creates our physical reality, right? But in this case, you're banishing the element of earth. The law of polarity states that you can attract or repel, and in magic we call that manifesting or banishing, right? I apologize. Invoking or banishing. And so the first lesson you learn is lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, and what you're doing is, in this, we're not invoking anything. You don't have the capacity to take any kind of elemental energy for any reason. So what we're doing is we're learning how to banish all forms of elemental energy, because earth is the densest. And when you banish earth, you banish everything else above earth by default. Just like when you get higher up and you banish planetary energy of Saturn, you're going to banish every single planetary energy below Saturn by default. That's just the way it works. And so for this case, you're doing the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, and that's to get rid of all elemental energies, but it's also to build up your own energy. There's a lot of benefits for it. And God, okay, there's so much time. So anyways, once you've got the star and you're doing this, you're pretending this is like a light blue light, right? So you've made a light blue, almost like a lightsaber 5-pointed pentagram. And then you take your two fingers and you say, Yah, Hey, Va, Hey. And as you say Hey, you shove your fingers through it. And as you explode your fingers, you're injecting that God name energy into it, and you're charging it. And that light bursts into flame. And so now you've got a blue flaming pentagram, right? So then you take your finger and you trace it around. You go to just like when you were going from the east to the south, you're going to do the same thing again. But this time, as you extend your finger, you create a line of starlight. That's from the center of the star you just made in the east, and it's now anchored in the south. So when you look off into the south and you still see the desert, you look over and you see the east, you see that star, but now there is a line of starlight which basically does the impossible and breaks through one reality into another. So you can see a line is starting to form. But anyway, so then you do the same thing for the south. But in this case, you say Adonai, right? You go Adonai. And then you punch a hole through that, and then that flames. Then you do another starlight in the middle, and you go to the west. You do it again, right? And then you go hey, ye. And then you punch through it, fire again, starlight, and then you go to the north, and you're in the desert. It's midnight. You're doing it. It's pretty cool because if you really allow yourself to do this as you're going from the sunrise to midnight, it gets much more intense with what you're looking at. So by the time you get to the north, this blue light is really noticeable because you're in midnight. It's really dark, which means lights stand out more. And so then you go back to the east, and now if you look around, you've got a circle of starlight, right? So then that circle goes up and it goes down, and then you have a sphere. So now you've got a sphere of light. So then you hold out your hands like this, and you say, before me, and you're facing the east. You go, before me, with fair skin and blonde hair, wearing yellow robes that flash violet. In his right hand is the caduceus. And you go, Raphael. And then you go, behind me, with fair skin and brown hair, wearing blue robes that flash orange. And in his left hand is a silver chalice, Gabriel. And then you say, to my right side, with dark skin and black hair, wearing crimson red robes that flash green. And in his right hand is an upright flaming iron sword, Michael. And then you go to the left, at my left side, with fair skin and black hair and dark intense eyes, wearing black robes that flash green, and in his left hand are sheaves of wheat, Uriel. And then you say, before me flame the pentagrams, and you see all four of the blue flaming pentagrams with the ring of starlight around it, and you in the center. And then you say, and within shineth the sixth great star. And you see an energy here, and your genitals. And that makes an upside down triangle, and that's blue. And then right above that, you've got energy here, and your neck, and that makes a normal size triangle, and that's red. And that is a triangle and an upside down triangle. It makes a star tetrahedron, and that is the combination of water and fire. And then your heart is the blood because it's the mixture of the two. But that's getting symbolic. We can't get into that. And so then the next step is you're going to do the middle pillar. And I literally have a video that's like 30 minutes long that explains that. So watch that video. And then when you're done with that, the last thing you're going to do is you do the neophyte meditation. And I'll get into the science later, but we don't have the time. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to put a piece of paper with a dot on it, and you're going to put it on a wall. And what you're going to do is you set your clock for 5 minutes, and you're going to sit there, and you're just going to stare at that dot. That's it. That is it. That's it. You're just going to stare at that dot, you're going to clear your head, and you're just going to see if anything comes to your head. Like, why am I focusing on this? Why am I focusing on this dot? What is the point? And if you do it enough times, you'll find out what the point is. And that's it, guys. Then you literally just do the Kabbalistic cross. You do the less. You don't really have to do the lesser advanced ritual of the pentagram because you didn't really invoke anything. But it's a good idea to go ahead and do it again one more time. But essentially, you're just recreating the Kabbalistic cross like you did at the beginning, and then because you start it by doing that and you end it. It's like the beginning move and the ending move. So, anyways, that is the neophyte ritual. You do that for a year. You're welcome. You are absolutely welcome. You will never feel the same again. You have a great day.